Hey, Sisterlock family. I know you're like, okay, so where are your Sisterlocks? They're a little hidden at the moment. More about that later. And I guess I would say maybe some of my Sisterlock family might find this debatable just because like I have Sisterlocks underneath my twists, but I like to occasionally have some length. Now, let me say this. Sister locks are all of your own natural hair, and therefore you want to make sure that you definitely let people know that sister locks, authentic sister locks, are only your natural hair. Now, if you were to add an extension on top of your sister locks for a temporary style, and you take that over. It's not woven into the sister lock itself to make an extension. You still have sister locks. It's just that you're doing a creative hairstyle over the top of your sister locks, and those should come down definitely, which would be advised by your braider, um, or whatever you choose to call your natural hair provider, if you are wearing an extension over your sister locks for a temporary period of time. Um, that could be because you're traveling and you want just a different look, and perhaps it'll secure things better until you return home to actually have your retightening or retie done. Okay, so this video though is not about my hair. This is about your hair and decisions that we make if you're interested in becoming a Sisterlock consultant. As I've said before, I believe this is around year number 13 for me for being a Sisterlock consultant. I'm based out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Um, if you have questions, you can always give us a call here at Camaria Creations Wellness Retreat. We've got herbal providers, um, Oriental medicine, Ayurveda, dance movement as therapy and healing. We've got wonderful cosmetologists that specialize in natural hair, locticians, and Sisterlock consultants, as well as tooth gems. See those? Yay! I don't know if you can. There it is. Bling bling. Yeah, I love those. You can put like little diamonds on there. And why am I getting distracted? Okay, this video is for anyone considering. I'm old school video. What do we call these now? We're on YouTube. All right. So anyone considering becoming a Sisterlock consultant, first of all, you really want to do your research, know your market, know how many consultants are in your city, and the demographic of how many people of African descent, because this is a hairstyle specifically for kinky, curly, wavy hair textures. So we have a 2% population in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So then, if you divide that into how many of those are women, then you've definitely got less than half the population, because a portion of those are men. And in our demographic region, we may have two brother lock clients, to be quite honest. Hey, brothers, you can, shout us out. You can do these too. And so if you are interested in being a consultant, know your demographic, know that it is a slow build, because number one, you've got to master several things with your own client base that you will have, from your timing to how many days installs will take for you initially until you get your speed and your precision. You need to work on your grid constantly. That should always be improving your part lines and so forth. I won't get into detail about that. You'd need to go to the Sisterlock training yourself to learn those details. But certainly, when you're starting out, you've really got to know that you have at least, and let me say this again, you need to have at least 8 clients that are committed. What I mean by committed is that you have shared the website with them, that you've let them know your intention of taking the course, that is an investment. Okay, so if you need to travel, that means that you've got hotel costs, food costs, and flight costs. And the investment of the class. Okay, so and time away from your work, so lost wages for, you've got to kind of think about 6 days because you've got a 1 day travel on each end. That's 2 days of travel, 4 days of this class. You're also going to need to have time to practice when you come back. So you really want to think about 7 days. If you're an entrepreneur and you know that I lose $300 a day for being off for a week or 200 or whatever that may be, then you need to build that into your consciousness of thinking about you've got to cover your lost wage time as well as the time that it will take for you to have your first set of clients. I say for that, you need to consider 8 clients. It is labor intensive. Those first installs, you will feel it in your back, your shoulders. Please always have a regular practice of like yoga, swimming, dance, something that's movement so that you stay agile. Okay. Um, you don't want to burn out. So make sure that you have a healthy routine with your eating and your diet, your exercise, and don't sacrifice those things. In the beginning, I used to do, I'm going to do sister locks for 18 hours because I really want to get done in 2 days or 3 days, and I would just be so exhausted that I'd need like 4 days of sleep to recover afterwards. It's labor intensive. Don't let anyone tell you. If you are a braider, then you kind of have a better understanding. If you're just coming into this for the first time and you have no experience with hair, I would definitely highly recommend you doing an apprenticeship prior to even taking the Sister Locks training to really feel the intensity of what it's like to be in the flow of using your hands, using your full body, connecting with people for that many hours because it's a lot of hours and your nerves can get on end. So when you have gathered a list of the people who are seriously committed, and I'd say make sure you have 8 people so that you can cover these initial costs of leaving and all of that. Um, you can have a preliminary conversation with them about what your intention is, and you can also schedule them ahead for when you're going to do their install and that you do require a deposit for investing in taking this course. So now they're committed. I'm going to take this, sign a document that says, if anything changes, this is your refund policy or what have you, but you're investing in caretaking for their hair and having them as a client under you. So that can fund you to actually go to the class. People always say they can't make it happen for themselves or they really want to go and who's going to support them or will they have clients. You can ensure that you'll have clients because people, if they trust you, are going to invest in you bettering yourself professionally and that you are serious, okay, about this. um, from there, and that's what I did, and I had a business, I had a salon, all of those things. But you're going to be a business owner as well. From there, I registered for my course. I sent out letters to all of my clients showing that were going to be my new Sister Lock clients. I sent them a coupon saying I'm doing an intro, and this was across the board. They didn't know I was going to do this special. And I literally did my first um, 8 clients for a flat rate of $500. I'm not telling you that that's what you need to do, but this was also 13 years ago almost, and I wanted to make sure that I had them committed, excited, like, oh wow, now we're getting a discount, even though our hair is, longer and so forth. When I initially started, I had a base rate of service and then 150 per inch thereafter the first 3.5 inches. Based on where you're at, you're going to have different rates. That is not my rate now, but that's where I started for installs. And so to make sure that those clients had options that were a little bit competitive with the nearby states that they could choose to travel to, and I really wanted them to come to me. So my plan, I saved, I took those deposits, I invested in this career path, I took the training. My training was in Oakland, and funny stories about that. Please make sure don't stay at your friend's house that's an hour away. Don't go and be like, oh, I'm gonna, be at my best friend's spot or my cousin's because they're gonna want to keep you out. You need to have your head 100% in the game. Okay, you're gonna have homework every night. You're going to want to network with the people that are in that city. You're definitely going to want to work on your mannequin head every single night. Practice makes what? Practice makes perfect. So, um, make sure that you are committed to know. I will get there a day in advance. I will check in. I'll eat well, exercise, go to bed early. You're going to need to be sharp when you get in there in the morning. They've got a really rigorous, fast pace, at least when I went. Shout out to Michelle. She was my trainer. Okay, so and my sister's trainer and my mother's trainer. So this is like a family thing. My daughter's going to be going to training. So this is like, will be 4 generations of Sisterlock trainees and then ultimately consultants and all of that. So um, it was like, I'm going, and then I each year would send someone as well. So you want to make sure you are ready for that next day, that you're sharp, that you haven't partied all night long. Like, get your rest. You're investing in this. It's not a cheap course to take. So make sure that you take that seriously. What you can expect is definitely a lot of information for the foundation. Now, when I went, there wasn't as much of a focus on the imperfections you will definitely see with Sisterlocks. You will see holes in Sisterlocks. You will see slippage. You will see um, the lock from the bottom trying to turn around and work its way back up the other side with your curlier head textures. If you all requested, I can definitely do a video that talks more about that, and you've got to have a lot of understanding that your first clients, you're not going to be perfect. You're going to have to go back and do some lock repair, various things. A lot of it because I didn't have anyone available to me locally. I had to call and ask a lot of questions to people who had more of a frequent um, client base of, Sisterlock consultants that had more people in their region that were coming in for services. And like I said, I'm also a cosmetologist. So your investment of time can be great when you start taking on doing Sisterlocks. So you've got to consider how many you can really endure with your hands, your wrist, how often you're rotating it, this little finger. I mean, at one point, like, it couldn't move and went crooked from years and years and years of Sisterlocks. So you've got to take care of yourself. My mom did so many Sisterlocks that she literally got like trigger thumb and had to have surgery. Okay, so when people, if they want to say your rates or this or that, you need to remember you're going to need to have massage on your, arms occasionally. You're going to need to have some acupuncture occasionally. Like, again, it's labor on your body. So never apologize for the fact you've invested, that you have made sure to, care and cultivate this very special hairstyle for some years of investment for people, unapologetically so stand behind the quality of your work and the rates of your service. You're very deserving of that. And if you've got a large client base that you're providing service for, then know that, like, you will need to set aside a portion of your income for taking care of your health. Okay. And that's just the reality. Yes. So if you think you're going to do a Sisterlock install and then, the day after that you're going to be able to do cornrows, no. So always think about your days of recovery time after an install. It's mentally draining, physically it's draining, um, and that you also have to make sure that you've counted out the weeks until you're going to see them for that retightening visit. I never advise you to go past 3 weeks. You're going to have a lot of information from the consultation that you have when you come back from training and you do your consultation and you do your sample lock installs for your new clients. When you check that, and it'll be about 2 weeks later because they're going to shampoo at least a few times so you can see, okay, I'm seeing them in 2 weeks. Now, what would their hair look like in a week after that, a week after that? Should I then make sure if they've had a lot of slippage and they've got softer hair textures and so forth, are you going to make sure that you have them in 3 weeks? Probably so, because you don't want that to turn into a bunch of slippage that now you've got a full day that you've got to devote to retightening their Sisterlocks. So that consultation is imperative. It is going to give you the information that you need once they come in to have the install, for how long how many turns through it's going to take basically for you to retighten their hair. So never skip steps. You will live to regret it, I promise you. If you do have someone that has, color and you're coming from cosmetology, always schedule that color right, about a week or so before you're going to install their sister locks, or at their consultation for sister locks, do the color because they're going to have to wait until what? Their hair is fully locked before you can color their hair again due to banding, and that special washing technique for your clients. Okay, so really consider the investment of your time, that you've got to be available to your clients because they need to be coming in between 4 and 6 week intervals, depending on how small, depending how many hours they want to sit in the chair. Those are things that are their choices. Most of my clients definitely don't want to sit longer than a 4 hour retightening. So they base their hair growth patterns, and none of these are the same. If you have teenagers, younger children, remember, they're going to have a tremendous amount of new growth because they have growth spurts. Just like you see them in the summertime and they shoot up and then they go back to fourth grade or whatever, and they're a whole inch taller. What do you think happens with their hair? So you've got to evaluate seasonally when are our, growth patterns that they really hit a growth spurt through that summer and right before fall. So you may need to have an extra hour available and plan those things for tracking when your clients that are younger, even their growth spurts. Okay. So the other thing you've got to think about is, are you going to like your clients? I know that sounds funny, but you're sitting with them for hours upon hours and all of this investment of time. So if you don't feel enmeshment, recommend them to someone else as a consultant that you know that their personality types will fit. I have room in my schedule for like 5 people that are, really demanding, or, deal with mental health issues or whatever. Like, this is my 5. The rest of y'all, I really have to pass it forward, pay it forward, share the wealth, spread the resources, because ultimately I know my threshold and capacity. And my degree is in clinical psychology. So I have a really high tolerance for dealing with special needs clients. And you do have them. I get referred those from all over the state, with people that are in the cosmetology field. And they're just like, I'm just not qualified to be able to handle these very special needs of our people. So if you are if you do have more than a sister lot clientele base, remember that the more that you take on, that can fill up a lot of time in your schedule. And do you have that available? Because it's unfair to expect that you can take in another sister lot client if you know your responsibility level is already committed, 30 hours a week to retightening sister lot clients' hairs. And that would mean you're seeing about 5 sister lot clients or 6 sister lot clients a week. Right? So, how many logistically do you really want to have? In a month, you may have to say, okay, based on this time, I really can, once I get to 25 or 30 sister lot clients, that's all I've got space for, because I've got to see other clients as well. And you want to enjoy the fullness of whatever your license covers. Now, a big question I get from locticians, there are 7 states that um, have natural hair care provider licensure, and that's out of cosmetology. Every state has cosmetology, but there is a separation in certain states, not in New Mexico, but in other states about this. So uh, if you are really a person who likes shorter services, your palm rolling, your interlocking techniques for locks, then there's lots of space and room for that too. Know your threshold and capacity for endurance with sitting with people. And if that's just not your personality, sister locks is not a good choice. You won't be happy because of your income, believe me. You won't say, okay, well, yes, this is, the great. No. If you don't have patience and endurance for hours and hours and hours of your life of looking at the same repetitive motion again and again and very tedious work, then you must know it's better to look at being a loctician. And depending on your region, You could spend 2 hours like shampoo to finish with the lock styles for traditional locks and really be competitive or make a little more even sometimes with doing that. So you've just got to kind of think about what your demographic requires, what you see more in the industry of. Do you have the patience? Do you have the finances to invest? Are there people that are going to support you? Can you build upon having that client load of 30 people? So you're at least seeing, you know, a couple of sister lot clients in a day in that 5 day period, or what have you. So what's your capacity for that? If you have more senior clients, then know that you need to do early mornings. They seem to prefer, like, hey, I want to get in there early, which can be a plus. If you've got more business professionals, then you've got to look at your weekends, and do you want to give that up? Do your kids have games? So you can build it around your lifestyle, and a lot of this will kind of get you to see, like, okay, how do you shape even your time off? If you're going to be traveling and you're out of the country for 3 months, you need to have other consultants that you can talk to about putting those clients in their schedule, and do they have the space and the time? Um, or if you're going to be gone and all of my appointments land in this slot, make sure that you have them do a partial retightening. You can say, come in 3 weeks and we'll do your whole head. They're going to spend less money because they're paying hourly, and then when you get back, you can, pick it up from there, but don't leave them for 8 and 10 and 9 weeks or what have you. Make sure that if you need to do a partial, so that it's not that you have an overload of hours that you need to catch people up to, that you've taken care of that and handled that. Um, I've gone on for 20 minutes. So if you do have more questions, reach out to the home office. They're absolutely fabulous. Check into the new trichology program. I have a lot of training and background in that because I've been a cosmetology instructor and educator for the state of Mexico, um, and being a cosmetologist, but I'm excited to learn about that. They've also incorporated now hair pieces and so forth, which I think is really important. For us who are cosmetologists, we were making pieces for people. So this is a good thing, because some people will come to you and they don't have any hair here. They don't hear, and they've had hair loss for years, either hereditary, which they can't help, or through chemical services for many years, and you've got to troubleshoot a lot of things. So new consultants partner with other consultants that have been in the industry a while and can give you pointers in your region. Um, and look at refresher courses and things like that you can empower yourself with. So I think that's it for now, and I look forward to catching y'all later. You can subscribe to my channel. I'm very new to all of this YouTube world, but one of my clients was like, Ema, we need you to make more. Well, just make content and talk about what you do. So I look forward to it. Have a beautiful rest of this glorious day, and I look forward to sharing with you soon. Signing out. Kamaria Creations Wellness Retreat, Albuquerque, New Mexico, 505-244-9104.